So hey guys, the new story is coming and the story is: what if Naruto got harem with Undertale? So let's start the series. The ground gave way without warning. One moment Naruto was running, boots pounding against dirt, breath ragged in his chest, chasing a lead that was probably nothing, and the next, there was only empty space and the sickening lurch of his stomach trying to stay behind. He'd been following rumors. That was all. Whispered conversations in tea shops along the Land of Fire's border, words that slipped away when he got too close. Something about a rift. A hole that appeared during the last skirmish with remnants of Orochimaru's old networks. Sasuke's name had been mentioned. It was always Sasuke's name. So Naruto ran. He always ran. And now he was falling. The darkness swallowed him whole. Not the cool dark of night, but something thick, heavy like packed earth, but empty at the same time. His arms flailed, grasping at nothing. Chakra gathered instinctively in his feet, trying to find purchase on something, but there was nothing to grab. Just falling. Falling so long that his brain stopped counting seconds and started counting heartbeats. 37 heartbeats. 38. Then crash. He hit something that wasn't ground. It was soft. Flowers. A bed of golden flowers that broke his fall and swallowed him whole, petals crushed beneath his weight, sweet scent filling his nose so thick it made him dizzy. Naruto lay there for a long moment, staring up at nothing. Above him, there was no hole. No sky. Just rock. A ceiling of smooth gray stone, too far to reach, too solid to be a dream. Gah! He groaned, pushing himself up on elbows that screamed in protest. Everything hurt. His ribs ached where he'd landed wrong. His head throbbed with that special kind of pain that meant he'd probably black out if he moved too fast. He didn't move too fast. Instead, he just looked. The flowers were everywhere. Golden and glowing faintly, like someone had bottled moonlight and poured it into petals. They covered the floor of the small cavern, stretching toward a doorway carved into the stone, old, weathered, covered in moss that hadn't seen sun in maybe forever. This ain't Konoha, Naruto whispered, and his voice echoed wrong. Too flat. Like the room was eating the sound. He tried to stand. His legs gave out immediately. Second try. Better. He got to his knees, then his feet, swaying like a drunk on a moving ship. His orange jacket was torn at the shoulder. Leaf headband still tied tight, at least. Kunai pouch still on his thigh. Small mercies. The flowers rustled around his ankles as he stumbled toward the doorway. They felt warm. Almost alive in a way that made his skin prickle. Step. 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 The doorway led to a hallway. Long, dark. Flickering with lights that had no obvious source, just torches on the walls that burned purple and blue, flames that moved wrong, like they were breathing. Naruto's hand drifted to his kunai pouch. Hello, he called out. Silence. Anyone there? More silence. The kind that pressed against his eardrums and made him feel like he was going deaf. He walked. The hallway twisted and turned, opened into rooms filled with old furniture draped in white sheets, then narrowed again into more corridors. Everything was stone. Everything was old. Everything felt watched. 20 minutes. Maybe 30. Time moved weird down here. Then light. Real light. Warm and orange and flickering like a hearth fire, spilling from an open door at the end of another hall. Naruto's pace quickened, then slowed. Caution warred with hope in his chest. This could be a trap. Enemy ninja. Another of Orochimaru's hideouts. But the light looked so homey. Like the kind of light that came from Kakashi's apartment when he was actually home, reading those stupid books. He approached the door. Peered inside. It was a kitchen. Small, cluttered, warm. A pot bubbled on a stone stove. Shelves held mismatched dishes. A half-knitted scarf lay draped over a chair. And standing at the counter, back to the door, was a figure, tall, robed in purple and white, with long floppy ears that twitched slightly as they worked. Naruto's breath caught. The figure turned. She was a goat. No, not a goat. A monster? Her face was round and soft, white fur fading into gentle brown, with long floppy ears and small curved horns. Her eyes were red, but not the Sharingan red. Not dangerous red. Just red. Like dark cherries. Like the color of sunsets. And she was smiling. Oh, she said, and her voice was warm butter on fresh bread. Oh, you poor thing. Naruto opened his mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. Who where? Shoo! She set down whatever she was holding, a wooden spoon, and crossed the room in 3 quick strides. Her paws reached for him, gentle, hesitant, like he was a wild animal that might bolt. You're hurt. You're shaking. Come in, sit by the fire. I'm fine. You are not fine. Firm now. Mother firm. The kind that didn't argue. You fell. They always fall. And then they come here, scared and cold and alone. Her eyes softened. But you're here now. You're safe. Naruto let himself be guided to a chair by the fire. It was stupid. He knew it was stupid. Every shinobi instinct screamed at him, stranger, unknown location, possible enemy, stay alert, but his legs were shaking and his ribs hurt and the fire was so warm and she smelled like cinnamon and something baked. He sat. The goat lady bustled around the kitchen, grabbing a bowl, ladling something from the pot. Steam rose in fragrant clouds. She set it in front of him and Naruto's mouth watered before his brain could stop it. Soup. It was just soup. But it smelled like. Eat, she said, settling into the chair across from him. We can talk after you eat. Naruto looked at the bowl. Looked at her. Looked at the bowl again. Slowly, like approaching a sleeping animal, he picked up the spoon. The first bite was warm. Salty. Rich with vegetables he didn't recognize and meat that melted on his tongue. It spread through his chest like a fire jutsu, but gentle. Healing. He took another bite. Another. The goat lady watched him with patient red eyes, her long ears drooping slightly in what looked like contentment. She didn't speak. Just watched. Waited. Naruto finished the bowl. Then he finished the second bowl she silently refilled. Then he sat back, stomach full, fire warm against his back, and realized he hadn't felt this still in months. Months of running. Months of chasing ghosts. Months of waking up reaching for someone who wasn't there. I'm Toriel, the goat lady said softly. Welcome to the underground. Naruto told her everything. Not because he trusted her, not really, not yet, but because the words just spilled out. Like she'd pulled a cork and all the pressure inside him came rushing out in a flood. He told her about Konoha. About being the demon container, the monster everyone hated until suddenly they didn't. About Irika-sensei, the first person who ever said I see you. About Team 7. About Kakashi's lazy smiles and Sakura's fierce loyalty and Sasuke. He didn't mean to talk about Sasuke. The name just slipped out, and then the whole story followed like water through a broken dam. The promise to Sakura. The chase. The failure. The way he'd stood there, frozen, watching his best friend walk away into darkness because he hadn't been strong enough, fast enough, good enough to stop him. By the end, his voice was rough and his eyes burned and he hated himself for crying in front of a stranger. Toriel didn't say anything for a long moment. Then she reached across the small table and took his hand. Her paw was soft. Warm. It covered his completely. You tried to save him, she said. Not a question. I wasn't strong enough. That's not what I asked. Her grip tightened slightly. You tried. You loved him enough to chase him across countries, to refuse to give up, to carry this guilt like a stone in your chest. That is not failure, my child. That is love. Naruto pulled his hand back. You don't understand. His voice came out harder than he meant. He's my brother. Not by blood, but we were supposed to. I promised Sakura-chan I'd bring him back. I promised him I'd never let him go alone. And I broke both those promises. Toriel's ears drooped further. I understand more than you think, she said quietly. I also lost someone. Someone I loved very much. Someone I couldn't save. She looked toward a photograph on the mantel, too far for Naruto to see clearly, just shapes and colors. And I ran. I came here, to the ruins, and I built walls to keep everyone else out. To keep them safe. To keep me safe. Naruto followed her gaze. The photograph showed 2 small figures, one goat-like, one human, standing in a garden of golden flowers. What happened to them? Toriel's smile didn't reach her eyes. That is a story for another day. Tonight, you need rest. You need to heal. She stood, collecting his empty bowls. You can stay here as long as you need. Forever, if you want. The ruins are safe. Nothing can hurt you here. Forever. The word echoed in Naruto's chest. Forever in a stone house with a kind goat lady, warm fire, good soup. No chasing. No failure. No Sasuke-shaped hole in his chest because Sasuke wasn't here and couldn't be here and. I can't. The words came out before he could stop them. I have to get back. I have to find a way home. I have to keep my promise. Yes. Toriel studied him for a long moment. Then she nodded, slow and sad. I understand. I do. She carried the bowls to the sink. But the passage to the rest of the underground is dangerous. Terrible things live beyond these ruins. Monsters who have forgotten mercy. A king who has waited too long for hope. She turned back to him, and her eyes were wet. Please. Stay. At least for a few days. Let yourself heal. Let yourself rest. Then, if you still want to leave. She trailed off. Naruto looked at the fire. At his own reflection in the dancing flames, tired eyes, hollow cheeks, orange jacket scuffed and torn. A few days. What were a few days, compared to months of failure? Okay, he said. A few days. Toriel's smile returned, brighter this time. Genuine. Wonderful. Oh, this will be wonderful. I'll make you more soup tomorrow, and pie. Have you ever had butterscotch cinnamon pie? I don't know what that is. You poor thing. You're going to love it. 3 days passed. Naruto slept in a real bed for the first time in weeks, soft mattress, warm blankets, pillows that actually had fluff instead of rocks. He woke to the smell of breakfast and the sound of Toriel humming in the kitchen. He helped with dishes. He explored the small house, looking at photographs of people he didn't know, reading books with titles like The History of Monsters and 101 Snail Facts. He didn't ask about the passage to the rest of the underground. Toriel didn't mention it. On the third night, after a dinner of something she called monster pasta, which was just regular pasta, but shaped like tiny ghosts, Naruto sat by the fire and watched Toriel knit. I had a teacher once, he said quietly. Old man. Had a white beard and sold mushrooms. Toriel's needles paused. Oh. He was the first person who ever trained me. Really trained me, I mean. Not just survival stuff, real jutsu. He believed in me when nobody else did. Naruto stared at the flames. He died. Protecting the village. Protecting me. I'm sorry. Yeah. He swallowed. I used to think that was the worst thing. Losing people. Watching them die for you. His hands curled into fists on his knees. But it's not. The worst thing is when they don't die. When they just leave. Walk away. And you have to live knowing you couldn't stop them. Toriel's knitting needles clicked softly. Naruto. He looked up. There is a difference between failing to save someone and failing to give up on them. Her red eyes held his, gentle but unflinching. You are still chasing your friend. Still carrying hope in your heart despite everything. That is not failure. That is the bravest thing a person can do. I don't feel brave. Bravery isn't a feeling. It's a choice. She set down her knitting. You chose to keep loving him. You chose to keep trying. Even here, in a strange place, far from home, you chose to keep going. She smiled. That is bravery. Naruto looked away. The fire crackled. I should go, he whispered. Tomorrow. I need to find a way back. Before I forget why I'm here. Toriel was quiet for a long moment. Then, I know. Morning came too fast. Naruto stood at the doorway leading out of Toriel's home, the same doorway he'd seen his first night, old stone worn smooth by time. Beyond it, a long hallway stretched into darkness. The rest of the underground. The path home. Toriel stood behind him, wringing her paws. You don't have to do this, she said, and her voice cracked slightly. You can stay. You can be safe. You can. Toriel. Naruto turned. Looked at her. Really looked at the worry lines around her eyes, the way her ears drooped, the desperate hope she was trying so hard to hide. Thank you. For everything. For the soup and the bed and the kindness. Nobody has to be that kind to a stranger. You're not a stranger anymore. No. He smiled. It felt weird on his face. Real. I guess not. Toriel stepped forward and pulled him into a hug. She was warm. Soft. She smelled like cinnamon and old books and safety. Be careful, she whispered into his hair. Be good. And if you ever need a home, Naruto Uzumaki, you will always have one here. Naruto hugged her back. Then he let go. Stepped through the doorway. The hallway swallowed him. Behind him, he heard Toriel's voice, faint and sad, "Be good, would you?" And then a flicker. A twist in his chest. For just a second, Naruto felt something wrong. Like the world stuttered. Like he'd lived this moment before, the hallway, the doorway, Toriel's voice, and was only now remembering it. Then it passed. He shook his head, confused, and kept walking. The hallway ended at a massive door. Puzzle pieces decorated its surface, dozens of them, forming a picture of a smiling skeleton face. Naruto stared at it for a long moment, trying to figure out how it opened. A voice boomed from somewhere above. "Human! You have finally arrived." Naruto's hand flew to his kunai. "I, the Great Papyrus, have been waiting for you. Prepare yourself for..." A pause. "Wait. Are you a human?" Naruto blinked. Yeah. Wowie. A real human. This is even better than I imagined." The voice was so excited. So genuinely, ridiculously happy. Like Naruto showing up was the best thing that had happened in years. Slowly, Naruto's hand dropped from his weapon. He looked up at the dark ceiling where the voice came from. "Hey," he called. "You wanna come down here and talk? It's kinda weird shouting." Another pause. "Oh. Yeah. That makes sense." And then, from somewhere in the darkness, Naruto heard the sound of footsteps running toward him. He didn't know it yet, couldn't know it yet, but this was the moment everything changed. Not the fall. Not the soup. Not Toriel's kindness. This moment. The moment a tall skeleton with a toothy grin came bounding out of the dark, arms spread wide, and shouted, "Welcome to Snowden, human. Prepare for the greatest puzzles you've ever seen." And Naruto, for the first time in months, laughed. Really laughed. Because the skeleton, Papyrus, apparently was just so much. So bright. So loud. So painfully earnest that it reminded him of someone else. Someone he used to be. Before Sasuke left. Before failure carved hollows in his chest. "Okay," Naruto said, still grinning. "Show me what you got." Papyrus's eye sockets widened in delight. "Really? You're not scared? Most humans are scared." "Buddy, I've fought guys who can throw mountains. I think I can handle some puzzles." "Throw mountains? Wowie. You must be very strong. This is going to be the best puzzle experience ever." And as Papyrus grabbed his hand was Bones, and dragged him toward the first puzzle, Naruto felt something loosen in his chest. Maybe, just maybe, this underground place wasn't so bad. Maybe he could find his way home and make some friends along the way. Maybe. "Hey. You're not paying attention. This puzzle is very dangerous." "Well, not really dangerous. I made it. But still. Pay attention." Naruto laughed again. Sorry. I'm paying attention now. What do I do?" "Okay. First, you stand on the pressure plate." "No, the other one, wait, that one doesn't work either." This is harder than I remembered." And somewhere behind them, hidden in shadows so deep they swallowed light, a pair of eye sockets glowed faintly blue. Watching. Waiting. Calculating. So, a tired voice whispered in the dark. "You're the one who made everything glitch." The sockets narrowed. "I hope you're worth the trouble, kid." Then they blinked out, and the shadows were empty again. Papyrus's puzzles were, objectively, terrible. The first one involved standing on a specific sequence of tiles while avoiding the deadly traps, which turned out to be foam spikes that bent when Naruto stepped on them. The second was a maze made of waist-high hedges that Papyrus kept getting stuck in because he couldn't see over them. The third was just a sign that said Puzzle 3, believe in yourself, with nothing else around. "That's it?" Naruto asked, staring at the sign. "That's it." Papyrus beamed. "The real puzzle was the friends we made along the way." Naruto opened his mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. "That's not a puzzle. It's a metaphor, human. Very deep. Very profound." Papyrus crossed his bony arms with a satisfied nod. "I came up with it myself." "I can tell." "Is that sarcasm?" "I can never tell with humans. Your faces do too many things." Naruto snorted. "Nah, it's not sarcasm. It's just. I've never met anyone like you." Papyrus's skull somehow managed to look even brighter. Really? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know yet. Naruto grinned. But it's definitely something. They walked through Snowdin Forest together, Papyrus chattering endlessly about his sentry duties, his brother Sans, and his lifelong dream of joining the Royal Guard. The snow crunched under Naruto's sandals, cold, real, nothing like the snow back home. This snow felt different. Softer. Like it had never known war. And then I'll capture a human, and everyone will finally take me seriously. Undyne will have to let me join the guard. I'll be famous. I'll have. Wait. Naruto stopped walking. Capture a human? Papyrus stopped too, turning with a puzzled tilt. Yes? That's my job. I'm a sentry. I capture humans who fall down here. You're trying to capture me? Well, yes. But also no. Papyrus waved his hands dramatically. I mean, yes, I'm supposed to capture you. But also, we're having fun. And you're nice. And you laughed at my puzzles instead of getting angry. He leaned closer, eye sockets somehow conveying intense sincerity. Most humans get angry. You didn't. That means we're friends now. Naruto blinked. That's not how friends work. It's exactly how friends work. Friend is someone who doesn't get angry when your puzzles don't work. Friend is someone who laughs with you, not at you. Papyrus poked Naruto's chest with a phalange. We are friends. I have decided. You can't just decide someone's your friend. Watch me. And with that, Papyrus turned and continued walking, leaving Naruto standing in the snow with his mouth slightly open. After a moment, Naruto laughed. Okay, he said, jogging to catch up. Okay, fine. We're friends. But I'm still not letting you capture me. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. They reached a small town as the fake sky dimmed into something like evening. Snowdin was cozy. That was the only word for it. Wooden buildings huddled together against the cold, their windows glowing warm orange. Lights strung between rooftops twinkled like captured stars. A river ran alongside the town, dark and slow, reflecting the lights in rippled fragments. This is my house. Papyrus pointed at a rectangular building with a slanted roof and a door that was slightly too small for him. Well, our house. Me and Sans. It's very cool. I have a spaghetti room. You have a what? A room. For spaghetti. It's where I keep my spaghetti. That's just a kitchen, Papyrus. No, kitchen is where you make spaghetti. Spaghetti room is where you store spaghetti. Very different. Naruto decided not to argue. Papyrus bounded toward the door, then stopped abruptly. Turned. His expression shifted into something almost serious, or as serious as a skeleton with a permanent grin could manage. Human. Naruto. He said the name carefully, like he was testing how it felt in his mouth. I have a request. Yeah? Tonight, you will stay at our house. You will eat my famous spaghetti. And tomorrow. He puffed up his chest. Tomorrow, you will let me capture you properly. For real. With fanfare and everything. Naruto raised an eyebrow. And if I say no? Papyrus deflated slightly. Then I guess I'll just have to capture you the normal way. But that's less fun. He perked up again. So please say yes? It would make me very happy. And Sans too, probably. Sans doesn't get happy much. Something in Naruto's chest twinged. He thought about Toriel's offer, stay forever, be safe, never leave. He thought about Sasuke, somewhere out there in the darkness of his own world, walking further away with every passing day. He thought about Sakura's face when he'd promised her, the desperate hope in her eyes. Then he looked at Papyrus, this ridiculous, earnest, lonely skeleton who just wanted someone to play with. Okay, Naruto said. One night. But tomorrow we talk about this capture thing. Like, really talk. No puzzles. Papyrus's eye sockets somehow sparkled. Yes. This is the best day. Sans. Sans. He threw the door open, yelling into the house. We have a guest. A human guest. And he's my friend. Make your room presentable. A lazy voice drifted from inside, my room's always presentable, bro, it's present-shaped. That's not what presentable means. Close enough. Naruto stepped through the doorway and immediately understood two things. 1. This house was aggressively lived in. Socks hung from lamps. Dirty dishes teetered in the sink. A telescope pointed at a ceiling that was definitely not showing real stars. 2, Sans was already looking at him. The shorter skeleton lounged in an armchair by the window, feet propped on an ottoman, hands tucked into the pockets of a blue hoodie that looked about 3 sizes too big. His grin was wide and fixed, but his eye sockets, dark, endless, were fixed on Naruto with an intensity that didn't match his lazy posture. "Hey," Sans said. "You're the human." "I'm Naruto." "Yeah. I got that." He didn't move. Didn't blink. Just watched. "Papyrus drag you into his puzzle thing?" "He sure tried." Naruto glanced at Papyrus, who was already bustling toward what must be the kitchen. They were something. "Pap's puzzles or something, alright." Sans' grin widened a fraction. "That something is bad." "Heard that." Papyrus yelled from the other room. "You were meant to." Naruto stood awkwardly in the doorway, snow melting off his sandals onto a worn welcome mat. Sans hadn't looked away. It was starting to get uncomfortable. "So," Naruto said, "you're Sans? Papyrus's brother?" "Yep. The lazy one." He finally moved, shifting in his chair, crossing one leg over the other. "Pap's the cool one. I'm just the guy who makes bad puns and takes naps." "You make puns?" "All the time. It's a skeleton key to my heart." Naruto stared at him. Sans stared back. "That was terrible," Naruto said. "They can't all be winners, kid." But there was something underneath the words. Something that didn't match the lazy grin or the tired posture. Sans was watching him, not like an enemy watches, not like a threat. Like a scientist watches an experiment. Like someone waiting for the other shoe to drop. Naruto's shinobi instincts prickled. He'd felt this before. The way Jiraiya used to look at him, sometimes assessing, measuring, trying to figure out what he was dealing with. The way Kakashi looked at a new mission scroll before he opened it. Sans knew something. Or suspected something. Before Naruto could ask, Papyrus burst back into the room carrying a massive pot. "Spaghetti is ready. Everyone to the table. Human, you sit here, no, here actually, just sit wherever, I'm too excited to care." The spaghetti was memorable. That was the kindest word Naruto could find for it. The noodles were somehow both undercooked and mushy. The sauce tasted like someone had fought a tomato and lost. There were chunks of something that might have been meat or might have been a mistake. But Papyrus watched him eat with such desperate hope that Naruto couldn't bring himself to be honest. "It's really something." "Really? You like it?" "I like that you made it." Papyrus's soul seemed to glow. "That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said about my cooking." Sans always just says nice in that voice where you can't tell if he means it or not. "I mean it," Sans said, not looking up from his plate. "Nice spaghetti, bro." That's the voice. That's exactly the voice. Naruto laughed, and the tension in his shoulders loosened slightly. They ate while Papyrus regaled them with stories of his sentry duties. Apparently he'd never actually captured a human before. Apparently he'd never even seen a human before. Apparently most monsters just avoided him. Walked the other way when they saw him coming. And then Undyne said I had to be more intimidating, so I practiced my scary face in the mirror for like a week, but it just looked like my normal face, so I... Naruto listened. Really listened. Because he knew the story. Knew it in his bones. The loneliness dressed up as enthusiasm. The way you talk louder and faster so people can't see the quiet parts. The desperate need to be seen, really seen, by someone, anyone. He'd lived that story. Was still living it, maybe. And that's when I decided that being friends with humans was better than capturing them, but also I still want to capture one, so it's very confusing. Papyrus. Naruto set down his fork. "Tomorrow. The capture thing. Let's talk about it. Really talk. Okay?" Papyrus blinked. "Okay." A pause. "You're not going to fight me, are you?" "No." "Good. I'm not very good at fighting. Undyne says I need to work on my offense. And my defense. And my strategy. And my..." Papyrus. "Yes?" "You're gonna be fine." Papyrus's face did something complicated. "Thank you, Naruto. That's very nice." Sans watched the whole exchange with those dark, unreadable eye sockets. He didn't say anything. But something in his expression shifted, just slightly. Like a door cracking open. After dinner, Papyrus declared it was bonding time and dragged Naruto to the living room for what he called the greatest game night in history. It was not the greatest game night in history. The first game involved throwing socks into a laundry basket. Papyrus was terrible at it. Naruto was worse. Sans didn't participate, just watched from his armchair with an expression that might have been amusement. The second game was a board game missing most of its pieces. Papyrus made up rules as they went along. Naruto stopped trying to understand after the third time Papyrus declared that landing on green means you have to tell a secret. Okay, fine. Naruto's piece sat on a green square. A secret. I used to paint graffiti on the Hokage monument. What's graffiti? Art. But like, illegal art. On a really big rock. Wowie. You were a rebel. I was a kid who wanted attention. Naruto shrugged. Same thing, I guess. Papyrus nodded sagely. I once painted mustaches on all the posters in Snowdin. Sans said it was vandalism. I said it was art. What I said was, Papyrus, please stop painting mustaches on the posters. Same thing. Naruto laughed. Okay, your turn, Sans. Land on a color. Tell a secret. Sans looked at the board. At his non-existent piece. At Naruto. I'm not playing. You're sitting right there. And yet, here we are. Naruto opened his mouth to argue, but Papyrus cut him off. He never plays. He just watches. It's his thing. Papyrus leaned closer, lowering his voice to something that was still definitely audible. I think he's judging us. I'm not judging. I'm appreciating. Same thing. Naruto looked at Sans. Sans looked at Naruto. Something passed between them. Not understanding exactly. More like acknowledgement. Like two people recognizing that the other was also watching, also waiting, also holding something back. Then Sans yawned, a huge, exaggerated yawn that showed every tooth in his skull. Well, this has been fun. But I'm beat. Got a long day of standing around and doing nothing tomorrow. He stood, stretched, and started ambling toward a door at the back of the room. Papyrus, don't keep our guest up too late. Human, try the floor if the bed's uncomfortable. It's what I do. You sleep on the floor? I sleep wherever I stop moving. Tonight, that's the floor. Tomorrow, maybe the couch. Life's full of mysteries. He paused at the door, not turning around. Hey, Naruto. Yeah? For just a second, Sans' voice lost its lazy edge. Toriel's a good judge of character. If she liked you, that means something. A pause. Don't prove her wrong. Then he was gone, the door clicking shut behind him. Naruto stared at the closed door. Papyrus yawned, actually yawned, which was weird to see on a skeleton. I should probably sleep too. Big capture tomorrow. He stood, then hesitated. Naruto? Yeah? Thank you for being my friend. Even if it's only for one night. His voice was smaller now. Quieter. It's nice. Having someone to play games with. Naruto's chest hurt. We're gonna talk tomorrow, he said. About the capture thing. And about whatever else you want to talk about. Okay? Papyrus nodded. Okay. Good night, Papyrus. Good night, Naruto. And then Naruto was alone in the living room, surrounded by scattered board game pieces and the faint smell of terrible spaghetti. He didn't sleep on the floor. He found the couch lumpy, covered in a blanket that smelled like skeleton, and lay there staring at the ceiling. The fake stars twinkled overhead, projected by some machine he couldn't see. They moved wrong. Shifted in patterns that didn't match any sky he knew. He thought about Toriel. About her sad eyes when he left. About her offer of forever. He thought about Papyrus. About how desperate he was for connection, how he grabbed onto friendship like a drowning man grabs a rope. He thought about Sans. About the weight behind those lazy jokes. About the way he'd said don't prove her wrong like it cost him something to say it. And he thought about Sasuke. Always Sasuke. Somewhere out there, in a world Naruto couldn't reach, his best friend was walking further into darkness. And here Naruto was, lying on a skeleton's couch, eating terrible spaghetti, making friends with monsters. Was this betrayal? Was this giving up? Or was this something else? Something he couldn't name yet? The fake stars twinkled overhead. Naruto closed his eyes. And for the first time in months, he slept without dreaming. Morning came cold and gray. Naruto woke to the smell of something burning. He shot up, instincts screaming, hand reaching for kunai that weren't there, and then he heard Papyrus's voice from the kitchen. It's supposed to look like that. It's called char. It adds flavor. Pap, the eggs are literally on fire. That's extra char. Naruto stumbled into the kitchen to find Sans calmly pouring water on a smoking frying pan while Papyrus gestured wildly with a spatula. Morning, Naruto said. Both skeletons turned. Good morning, Naruto. Papyrus beamed. I'm making breakfast. It's going to be the best breakfast you've ever had. The eggs are still on fire. That's just the presentation. Naruto looked at the pan. The eggs were, in fact, still on fire. He laughed. And somewhere in the back of his mind, a voice whispered that this ridiculous, warm, chaotic moment was something worth holding on to. But he pushed the thought away. He had promises to keep. Didn't he? The eggs were still on fire. Naruto watched Sans calmly dump the entire smoking pan into the sink, where it hissed and sputtered like an angry cat. Papyrus stood nearby, arms crossed, looking deeply offended. That was art, Papyrus declared. It was arson, bro. Same thing. Naruto leaned against the doorframe, rubbing sleep from his eyes. His ribs still ached from the fall, but less than yesterday. Less than the day before. He was healing. That was something. I can make breakfast, he offered. If you want. I'm not great, but I'm better than whatever that was. Papyrus gasped. You can cook? Ramen. I can make ramen. And like, eggs. Normal eggs. Not on fire eggs. Normal eggs, Papyrus repeated, tasting the words. I've never had normal eggs. Sans, have we ever had normal eggs? Once. Remember when Undyne came over and made us breakfast? Papyrus's eye sockets went distant. I remember the fire department coming. Same thing. Naruto pushed off the doorframe. Okay, move. I got this. 20 minutes later, they sat around a small table cluttered with plates of actually edible scrambled eggs, toast that was only slightly burned, and a pot of tea that Sans had produced from somewhere. Papyrus took his first bite and made a sound that shouldn't have been possible from someone without vocal cords. This is amazing. It's so, not crunchy. That's usually how eggs work, yeah. Sans chewed slowly, watching Naruto over his fork. That look was back. The one that said he was seeing something other than just a kid making breakfast. So, Sans said, you're from another world. Naruto paused mid-bite. Toriel told you? She called. Last night. Wanted to make sure you got here okay. He took a sip of tea. Said you were chasing someone. A friend who went bad. The eggs in Naruto's mouth turned to cardboard. Sasuke, he said quietly. His name is Sasuke. And you're trying to get back to him. I made a promise. Sans nodded slowly. Promises are important. Yeah. Naruto set down his fork. They're everything. Something flickered in Sans' expression. Just for a moment. Then it was gone, buried under that lazy grin. Well, Sans said, you can't go anywhere until you get through Waterfall. And Hotland. And New Home. And the barrier. He ticked off locations on his phalanges. It's a whole thing. Then I'll get through them. Monsters might try to kill you. I've been dealing with that my whole life. Papyrus slammed his hands on the table. Not me. I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to capture you. There's a difference. What's the difference, bro? Papyrus opened his mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. I'll figure it out and get back to you. Naruto laughed. It was getting easier to laugh around these two. That should have worried him more than it did. After breakfast, Papyrus declared it was time for the official capture and dragged Naruto outside. Snowdon's streets were empty this early, just footprints in the fresh snow and the distant sound of a river. Okay. Papyrus struck a pose, arms spread, chin high, 1 foot forward like he'd seen someone do in an action movie once. I, the great Papyrus, challenge you to a battle. Prepare to be captured. Naruto looked around. Here? Now. Yes. Right here. Right now. It's dramatic. There's no one watching. Papyrus deflated slightly. Oh. I didn't think of that. He perked up again. But that's okay. Drama is about feeling, not audience. I feel dramatic. That's what matters. Naruto opened his mouth to argue, then stopped. Because Papyrus was right. Not about the drama. About the feeling. This ridiculous skeleton wanted this moment to mean something. Wanted to prove himself, even if no one was watching. Even if it was just him and a stranger in an empty street. Naruto knew that feeling. Okay, he said softly. Show me what you got. Papyrus's eye sockets lit up. NYEH haha. Prepare yourself. And then bones started appearing. Not real bones, at least, not like any bones Naruto had seen. They rose from the ground in neat rows, white and clean, forming patterns that Naruto was supposed to dodge. Except the patterns were simple. Obvious. Almost like Papyrus was drawing them in slow motion so Naruto could see where to step. Naruto dodged. Jumped. Weaved between bones that moved exactly the way he expected them to. Yes. You're doing great. Papyrus cheered from somewhere behind the bone field. But can you dodge this? More bones. Different pattern. Still easy. And this? Still easy. And wait, that one was supposed to be harder. Hold on. Naruto stopped moving. Just stood there in the middle of Papyrus's attack, watching the skeleton frantically adjust invisible controls. Papyrus. 1 second, I just need to. The alignment is off. Sans usually helps with this part. Papyrus. The bones stopped. Papyrus peered at him from behind a large snowdrift. Yes? Naruto walked toward him. Not fast. Not slow. Just walking, through the fading remains of an attack that had never been meant to hurt. I'm not gonna fight you. Papyrus blinked. But the capture, the dramatic battle. There's no battle. Naruto stopped a few feet away. You don't want to capture me. You want someone to see you. To take you seriously. To be your friend. Papyrus's expression crumbled. He looked down at his own bony hands. Undyne says I have to be strong. Says I have to prove myself. Says if I capture a human, everyone will finally, his voice cracked. Everyone will finally. Naruto closed the distance and pulled Papyrus into a hug. It was awkward. Papyrus was too tall and all bones and didn't seem to know what to do with his arms. But after a second, he hugged back. Gently. Like he was afraid Naruto would break. I see you, Naruto whispered. Okay? I see you. Papyrus made a sound like a sob and a laugh at the same time. That's really, he pulled back, wiping at eye sockets that couldn't cry. That's really nice. Thank you. Naruto grinned. That's what friends do. Friends. Papyrus tested the word like it was something precious. We're really friends? We're really friends. Papyrus's face split into the widest grin Naruto had ever seen, which was saying something, considering it was a skeleton. This is the best day of my entire life. I have a friend. A real friend. Sans. Saiyans. Sans appeared next to them like he'd been there the whole time. I heard, bro, congrats. Did you see? He hugged me. A human hugged me. I saw. Sans glanced at Naruto. Something passed between them again. Acknowledgement. Respect, maybe. You did good, kid. Naruto shrugged. Wasn't hard. He's easy to like. Papyrus made that sob laugh sound again. And for a moment, everything was warm. Then Sans' grin faded. Hey, Papyrus. Why don't you go inside? Make some spaghetti to celebrate. I need to talk to our friend here. Papyrus tilted his head. About what? Adult stuff. Boring stuff. You wouldn't like it. But I want to celebrate with Naruto. You will. After. Sans' voice stayed light, but something underneath it made Papyrus pause. Go on, bro, I'll send him in soon. Papyrus looked at Naruto. Naruto nodded, even though he didn't know what was happening. Okay. Papyrus hugged Naruto again, quick, fierce, then bounded toward the house. Don't take too long. I have celebration plans. The door slammed shut. Silence settled over Snowdin. Sans stared at Naruto with those dark, endless eye sockets. The lazy grin was still there, but it didn't reach anything. Didn't mean anything. Walk with me, Sans said. It wasn't a question. They walked. Snow crunched underfoot as Sans led Naruto away from the town, toward the edge of the forest. The fake sky dimmed as they went, the lights of Snowdin fading behind them. Naruto's hand drifted toward his kunai pouch. Relax, Sans said without looking back. If I wanted to hurt you, you'd already be hurt. That's not comforting. Wasn't meant to be. They stopped at a clearing. A single lamppost stood in the center, casting a small circle of light. Beyond it, darkness pressed in from all sides. Sans turned to face him. I'm going to ask you some questions, Sans said. And you're going to answer them honestly. Because if you don't, I'll know. And then we'll have a problem. Naruto's jaw tightened. What kind of questions? The kind that determine whether you leave this clearing alive. The words hung in the cold air. Naruto stared at Sans. Sans stared back. Neither moved. You're serious, Naruto said finally. As a heart attack. I thought you were lazy. I am. Takes a lot of energy to threaten someone. Hope you appreciate the effort. Naruto should have been scared. Every instinct screamed that this was a threat, that he should fight or run or do something. But there was something in Sans' voice, something tired, something old, that made him stay. Ask your questions. Sans nodded slowly. First question. Why are you here? I fell. That's how. Not why. Naruto thought about it. Really thought about it. I was chasing someone. Sasuke. I told you. You were chasing him. You fell. But you could have given up when you landed. Could have stayed with Toriel forever. Safe. Warm. Fed. Sans tilted his skull. Why didn't you? Because I made a promise. Promises break. Not this one. Sans studied him for a long moment. Second question. What would you do to keep that promise? Anything. Anything? Anything. Would you hurt people? Naruto's breath caught. Would you kill someone who got in your way? Some monster who just wanted to protect their home? Some kid who was scared and lashed out? Sans' voice stayed flat, emotionless. Would you kill to get back to him? I don't know. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have. Naruto's hands curled into fists. I don't want to hurt anyone. I've spent my whole life trying not to be the monster everyone thought I was. But Sasuke he's my brother. And I promised. Promises. Sans said the word like it tasted bad. Everyone's got promises. Everyone's got reasons. You know what else they've got? Naruto waited. LV, love. Level of violence. Sans' eye sockets darkened. It's what happens when you hurt people. When you kill them. It builds up. Makes it easier to do it again. Makes it harder to care. I know what it is. Do you? Sans stepped closer. Because I've seen it. Seen what it does. Seen monsters who were kind once turn into. He stopped. Swallowed. Into something else. The silence stretched. Third question, Sans said quietly. Have you ever killed anyone? Naruto looked him in the eye. No. Never? Never. I've fought. I've hurt people. But I've never. He thought of all the battles. All the enemies. All the moments when he could have ended it and didn't. I've never taken a life. And I never will. Sans stared at him. Then, slowly, something shifted in his expression. Not the grin that stayed fixed, but something behind it. Like a door opening just a crack. You really mean that? I really mean that. Even if your friend, even if Sasuke, even if he. Even if. Naruto's voice cracked. He's still my brother. Killing won't bring him back. Killing won't save him. It'll just make me someone he wouldn't want to come back to. Sans was quiet for a long time. Then he sighed, a huge, bone-deep sigh that seemed to come from somewhere ancient. Okay, he said. Okay. Okay, what? Okay, I believe you. Sans turned away, looking out at the darkness. Toriel believed in you. Papyrus loves you. And you passed my test. So okay. Naruto blinked. That was a test? Everything's a test, kid. You just don't know the questions until after. That doesn't make sense. Welcome to the underground. Sans started walking back toward Snowdin. Naruto followed, confused and relieved in something else he couldn't name. Hey, Naruto said. Sans. Yeah? What was that about? Really? Sans didn't answer for a few steps. Then, I've been through this before. Not with you. With others. Humans who fell. Humans who promised. Humans who, he stopped walking. Stared at the ground. Humans who didn't keep their promises. Naruto's chest tightened. What happened to them? Sans turned. Looked at him. And for the first time, Naruto saw something raw in those dark eye sockets. Something that looked like grief. They died. Or they killed. Sometimes both. He shrugged, but it wasn't casual. And then everything reset. And they did it again. And again. And again. Reset? You wouldn't understand. Try me. Sans studied him. Weighed something. Decided. This world, he said slowly, it runs on something called determination. It's a power. A force. Lets people try again when they fail. Go back. Fix their mistakes. His voice dropped. But some people, they use it wrong. They use it to hurt. To get what they want. And no matter how many times they reset, I remember. I always remember. Naruto stared at him. You remember things that haven't happened yet? Things that didn't happen. Things that could have happened. Things that happened and then got erased. Sans' grin returned, but it was hollow. I'm the only one who does. Everyone else forgets. Moves on. Lives their happy little lives while I sit here knowing that any moment, it could all disappear again. Naruto didn't have words. That's horrible. Yeah. Sans started walking again. It is. They reached the edge of Snowdin. The lights twinkled ahead, warm and welcoming. One more thing, Sans said quietly. Your chakra. It's not supposed to be here. Naruto tensed. What do you mean? I mean it's foreign. Wrong. Every time you use it, the world glitches. Just a little. But I notice. He glanced at Naruto. The others might not feel it, but I do. It's like a stone in a shoe. Annoying at first. Dangerous if it stays. Is that a threat? It's a warning. Sans stopped at the door to their house. You're not like the others. You don't have the same kind of soul. You can't reset. Can't save. Can't load. But you can still break things. Break them permanently. He opened the door. So be careful, kid. The underground's fragile. And so am I. He stepped inside. Papyrus's voice immediately rang out, Sans. Did you finish your boring talk? Naruto. Come in. I made spaghetti. Naruto stood in the snow, staring at the open door. His hand drifted to his chest. To the place where his chakra coiled, warm and familiar. Foreign. Wrong. Dangerous. He'd heard those words before. All his life, he'd heard those words. Demon container. Monster. Thing. And now here, in a world full of actual monsters, he was the one who didn't belong. Naruto. The spaghetti is getting cold. Actually, it was never hot. I don't know how to fix that, but it's still spaghetti. Naruto took a breath. Then another. Then he walked inside. Papyrus had indeed made spaghetti. It was worse than last time somehow, cold and clumpy and swimming in a sauce that looked like regret. But Papyrus was so happy. So excited. So full of light that Naruto couldn't bring himself to care about the food. They ate. They talked. Papyrus made plans for their future friendship. We'll have weekly game nights. And puzzle days. And while Sans sat in his armchair, watching with that tired, knowing expression. And somewhere in the back of his mind, Naruto heard Sans' words echo. I remember. I always remember. You can still break things. Break them permanently. He looked at Papyrus, laughing about something, arms waving, joy pouring off him like heat from a fire. Naruto made a silent promise. He wouldn't break this. Whatever it cost, whatever it took, he would not be the one who broke this. That night, Naruto couldn't sleep. He lay on the couch, staring at the fake stars, thinking about Sans' words. About resets. About determination. About a power that let people try again and again until they got what they wanted. It sounded like a dream. It sounded like a nightmare. He thought about Sasuke. About all the moments he wished he could do over. The fight at the valley. The moments Sasuke turned away. All the times he'd opened his mouth and said the wrong thing. If he could reset, if he could go back and try again. Would he? Would it change anything? Or would he just keep failing, over and over, until the failures didn't hurt anymore? Naruto. He looked up. Sans stood in the doorway, silhouetted against the dim light from the kitchen. Yeah? Can't sleep either? No. Sans crossed the room and sat on the floor next to the couch, back against the cushions. He didn't say anything. Just sat there, staring at nothing. Naruto watched him for a long moment. Hey, Sans? Yeah? That stuff you said earlier. About remembering. About resets. He swallowed. How do you live with it? Knowing that any moment, everything could just disappear? Sans was quiet for a long time. Then, I don't know. I just do. What's the alternative? Giving up? Giving up would be easier. But Papyrus, his voice softened. Papyrus deserves better than a brother who gives up. Naruto thought about that. Thought about Sakura. About Kakashi. About Iruka. About everyone back home who was waiting, hoping, believing in him. Same, he whispered. Sasuke deserves better than a friend who gives up. Sans glanced at him. Maybe that's the point, Sans said. Maybe we keep going because they need us to. Not because it's easy. Not because it makes sense. But because they need us to. Naruto looked at the fake stars. Yeah, he said. Maybe. They sat in silence for a while. Then Sans stood, stretching. Get some sleep, kid. You've got a long walk tomorrow. He paused at the door. And Naruto? Yeah. Thanks. For being good to Papyrus. It means more than you know. Naruto smiled. It was small, but real. He's easy to be good to. Sans nodded once, then disappeared into the darkness. Naruto closed his eyes. And for the first time since falling into this strange world, he felt like maybe, just maybe, he was exactly where he needed to be. The next morning, Naruto left Snowdin. Papyrus cried. Actually cried, which was weird to see on a skeleton, tears streaming down bony cheeks. I'll visit. Naruto promised. I'll come back. We'll have more game nights. You better. Papyrus hugged him so tight his ribs creaked. You're my best friend. My only friend. Well, Sans is my friend too, but he doesn't count because he's my brother, which is different. How is that different? It just is. Naruto laughed and hugged him back. Then he looked at Sans, who stood a few feet away, hands in his pockets. Take care of him, Naruto said. Always do. And take care of yourself. Sans' grin flickered, just for a second, into something almost genuine. I'll try. Naruto nodded. Then he turned and walked into the next area. Waterfall, they called it. Where the paths were dark and the water glowed and monsters lurked in the shadows. He didn't look back. But he heard Papyrus's voice echoing behind him. Come back soon. I'll have new puzzles ready. Real ones this time. Maybe. And Sans' quiet addition. Good luck, kid. You're gonna need it. Naruto smiled. And kept walking. Waterfall was beautiful. That was the first thing Naruto noticed. The path wound alongside an underground river that glowed faintly blue, lit by glowing flowers and strange crystals embedded in the rock. Water dripped from above, creating pools that reflected the dim light like scattered stars. It was peaceful. Too peaceful. Naruto's shinobi instincts prickled. Places this peaceful were usually traps. Places this beautiful usually hid something ugly. He walked carefully, hand never far from his kunai. The path twisted and turned, sometimes opening into wide caverns, sometimes narrowing to passages barely wide enough to squeeze through. Echo flowers lined the walls in some places, plants that repeated whatever was said near them, their whispers following him like ghosts. "Hello," one whispered as he passed. "Hello," another echoed. "Hello, hello, hello," a dozen more chimed in, until the air was thick with his own voice. Naruto shivered and walked faster. He passed through a dark tunnel and emerged into a cavern filled with glowing mushrooms. Their light pulsed slowly, like breathing. In the center stood a figure, tall, armored, holding a spear. Undyne. He knew her before she spoke. Papyrus had described her 100 times. The captain of the royal guard. The strongest monster in the underground. The one whose respect Papyrus wanted more than anything. She turned as he approached. Her single eye, the other was covered by an eye patch, fixed on him with fierce intensity. "So," she said, and her voice was sharp as her spear. "You're the human." Naruto stopped walking. "I'm Naruto. Papyrus told me about you." She stepped closer, spear lowering slightly. "Said you were kind. Said you were his friend." "He is my friend. Friends don't leave." Naruto's chest tightened. "I'm not leaving forever. I'm just." "You're going to the surface." Her eye narrowed. "You're going to take our hopes with you and leave us down here. Like all the others." "I don't even know how to get through the barrier. I'm just trying to find a way home." "Home." She spat the word. "You have a home. Up there. In the sun. While we rot down here in the dark." Her grip on the spear tightened. "Do you know what it's like? To never see the sun? To never feel real warmth? To watch your people fade, one by one, because there's no hope left?" Naruto thought of Konoha. Of the sun on his face. Of warmth he'd taken for granted his whole life. "No," he said quietly. "I don't." "Then you don't get to judge." "I'm not judging. I'm just." "You're just leaving." She raised her spear. "Like all the others. Like the ones before you. Like," she stopped. Swallowed. "Like the first human." Naruto remembered the photograph in Toriel's house. The goat child and the human child, standing in a garden. What happened to the first human? Undyne's eye went distant. They died. And Asriel died with them. And everything fell apart. She looked at him, and there was grief in her eye. Real grief. "So forgive me if I don't trust your kindness. Forgive me if I don't believe you're different." Naruto looked at her. At her grief. At her anger. At the way she held her spear like it was the only thing keeping her together. And he understood. He understood because he'd been there. Because he'd felt that same grief, that same anger, that same desperate need to hold on to something when everything else was falling apart. "I'm not gonna fight you," he said. Undyne's eye widened. "What?" "I'm not gonna fight you. You're hurting. You're scared. And fighting won't fix that." "You think you know me?" "I think I know what it's like to lose someone. To watch them die and feel like it's your fault. To be so angry you don't know what to do with it except fight." He met her eye. "I've been there. I am there. Every day." Undyne stared at him. Her spear trembled. You can't." "I can." He stepped closer. "I lost someone too. Not to death. To hate. To darkness. And I couldn't stop him. Couldn't save him. And now I'm here, in a world that isn't mine, chasing a way back to a promise I might never keep." He stopped a few feet away. "So yeah. I know." The spear lowered. "Just an inch." "Papyrus said you were kind," Undyne whispered. "I didn't believe him. He's a good judge of character." "He's an idiot." "Maybe." Naruto smiled. "But he's my friend." Undyne stared at him for a long moment. Then she laughed. It was a broken sound. A surprised sound. Like she'd forgotten she could laugh and just remembered. "You're ridiculous," she said. "I've been told. You walked into the lair of the captain of the royal guard and refused to fight. Seemed like the right call. She shook her head, but her eye was softer now. Less angry. More tired. Fine, she said. Fine. Go. Pass. But if you hurt anyone, if you break Papyrus's heart, I'll find you. And I won't be this nice about it. This was nice? Trust me. You don't want to see me not nice. Naruto believed her. He walked past her, deeper into waterfall. Behind him, Undyne's voice echoed. Hey. Human. He turned. Thank you. For being kind to him. Papyrus doesn't get a lot of kindness. Naruto smiled. He deserves it. Undyne nodded once. Then she was gone, swallowed by the darkness. And Naruto kept walking. The path through waterfall took hours. Past glowing rivers and echo flowers and caverns so beautiful they hurt to look at. Past monsters who watched him pass with curious eyes. Past a bench where a strange figure sat, a pink blob in a hoodie, who just waved and said nothing. Naruto waved back. Kept walking. His legs ached. His ribs still throbbed. But he couldn't stop. Couldn't rest. Because every moment he spent here was a moment Sasuke spent getting further away. Or so he told himself. The truth was more complicated. The truth was that he liked it here. Liked the people. Liked the way Papyrus laughed and Sans watched and Toriel baked pies and Undyne protected everyone with fierce, desperate love. The truth was that part of him didn't want to leave. And that scared him more than any monster could. He reached the end of waterfall as the fake sky dimmed into something like evening. Before him stretched Hotland, a vast, burning cavern filled with heat and steam and the distant glow of lava. And waiting at the entrance, leaning against a rock, was Sans. Hey, Sans said. Figured you might need a guide. Naruto blinked. You followed me? Nah. Shortcuts. He pushed off the rock. Hotland's tricky. Lots of traps. Lots of dangerous monsters. Thought I'd walk with you for a bit. Why? Sans shrugged. Maybe I like your company. Maybe I'm bored. Maybe I want to make sure you don't die before Papyrus gets his next game night. Naruto laughed. Any of those true? All of them. None of them. Pick whichever makes you feel better. They walked into Hotland together. The heat hit immediately, dry and intense, like standing too close to a fire. Sweat beaded on Naruto's forehead within seconds. Sans, somehow, looked completely comfortable. How's your chakra holding up? Sans asked quietly. Naruto checked. Felt the familiar warmth coiled in his chest. Fine. Why? Because we're getting close to the lab. And the doctor there, she studies determination. If she senses your chakra, she might get curious. And curious Alphys is dangerous Alphys. Alphys? The royal scientist. Nervous wreck. Means well. Accidentally created horrors she can never undo. Sans' voice stayed light, but his words were heavy. Sound familiar? Naruto thought of Kurama. Of the demon inside him. Of all the destruction caused by something he never asked for. Yeah, he said quietly. It sounds familiar. Sans nodded. Then you understand. Be careful around her. Be kind. But be careful. They walked in silence after that. Through hot corridors and across bridges spanning rivers of lava. Past vents that blasted steam without warning. Through rooms filled with puzzles that Sans disarmed with a flick of his wrist. Naruto watched him work. There was something almost sad about the way Sans moved, efficient, automatic, like he'd done this 1,000 times before. Like none of it mattered anymore. Sans? Yeah? Can I ask you something? You just did. But go ahead. Naruto smiled despite himself. The resets. The ones you remember. How many have there been? Sans was quiet for a long time. I don't know, he finally said. Lost count after the first 100. 100? Maybe more. Time gets fuzzy when you're the only one who remembers. He glanced at Naruto. Some resets last days. Some last hours. Some last just long enough for someone to make a choice and then, he snapped his fingers. Gone. Naruto's stomach turned. And you remember all of them? Every single one. Every death. Every kindness. Every moment that got erased. His grin tightened. Papyrus dying. Over and over. Undying, melting into nothing. Toriel's hopeful face the first time she sees a human, over and over, never knowing it's happened before. He stopped walking. I remember all of it. Naruto didn't know what to say. So he said nothing. Just stood there, in the heat of Hotland, beside a skeleton who carried more weight than anyone should. After a moment, Sans started walking again. Come on, he said. We're almost there. Almost where? The lab. And after that, new home. And after that. He trailed off. Naruto followed. And somewhere in the back of his mind, Sans' words echoed. Every death. Every kindness. Every moment that got erased. I remember all of it. Naruto made another promise. He would remember too. Whatever happened next, whatever choices he had to make, he would remember. The lab rose out of the heat like a metal flower. All gleaming steel and bright lights, it stood in stark contrast to the natural caves around it. A single door marked the entrance, flanked by cameras that swiveled to track their approach. She knows we're here, Sans said. She always knows. The door slid open. A voice crackled from an intercom. Oh. Hello. Welcome. Come in. Please come in. I mean, if you want to. You don't have to. But please do. Unless you don't want to, in which case. Sans walked inside. Naruto followed. The lab was a maze of computers and monitors and beakers filled with glowing liquids. In the center, surrounded by screens, stood a small yellow lizard in a lab coat, wringing her hands nervously. Hi. Alfie squeaked. You're the human. The one Sans told me about. The one with the weird. She stopped. Swallowed. I mean, welcome. Welcome to my lab. It's very scientific. Very professional. Please ignore the. She gestured vaguely at everything. All of this. Naruto looked around. Papers covered every surface. Anime posters hung on the walls. A half-eaten bag of chips sat on a keyboard. It's cozy, he offered. Alfie's eyes lit up. Really? You think so? Most people say it's a disaster. Which it is. But cozy is better. Cozy is much better. Sans leaned against a wall, watching with that tired expression. Alfie's, he said, the human needs to get to new home. Can you help? Oh. Yes. Of course. The elevator is right through there, she pointed at a door. But first, I should, would you mind? She took a breath. Would you mind answering some questions? For science? Naruto glanced at Sans. Sans gave a tiny nod. Sure, Naruto said. What do you want to know? Alphys led him to a chair in front of a large monitor. She sat across from him, fidgeting with a tablet. Your chakra, she said. It's fascinating. It's not determination, I tested, but it reacts to determination. Like oil and water, but also like, she made a frustrated noise. It's hard to explain. When you use it, the timeline stutters. Just a little. But I can measure it. See the fluctuations. Naruto frowned. Is that bad? It's unusual. She pulled up graphs on the monitor, spikes and dips that made no sense to him. Determination holds this world together. It's the glue. The power that lets us persist after death, that lets resets happen. But your chakra, she pointed at a spike. It doesn't fit. It's like trying to glue wood to water. They don't bond. They just sit next to each other. Uncomfortably. Naruto thought about what Sans had said. About being a stone in a shoe. About breaking things permanently. Can you fix it? He asked. Make it fit better? Alfie's face fell. I don't know. I've tried. Nothing works. It's like, she hesitated. It's like you're not supposed to be here. Like the world doesn't know what to do with you. The words hung in the air. Naruto had heard them before. In different forms. From different people. You're not supposed to be here. Monster. Demon. He pushed the memories away. Okay, he said. So what do I do? Alphys looked at him with something like pity. I don't know. I'm sorry. I wish I could help more, but she shrugged helplessly. I'm not very good at helping. I'm much better at making things worse. Hey. Naruto leaned forward. You're trying. That counts for something. Alphys blinked. Really? Really? Most people don't even try. She stared at him for a moment. Then, slowly, a smile crept across her face. You're nice, she said. Like, genuinely nice. I'm not used to that. Get used to it. I'm planning to be here a while. Alphys laughed, a surprised, hiccuping sound. Then she stood, bustling toward the elevator door. Okay. Okay, I'll take you to new home. It's the last area before the barrier. The king lives there. Askari. Her voice dropped. He's not like the others. He's been waiting a long time. Hoping a long time. And hope makes people do strange things. Naruto nodded. He understood hope. He understood what it did to people. The elevator ride was silent. Alphys fidgeted. Sans watched. Naruto stared at the doors, thinking about what came next. The doors opened onto darkness. Cold air rushed in. New home, Alphys whispered. I'll wait here. For when you come back. Naruto stepped out. The darkness swallowed him. And somewhere ahead, in the shadows, a pair of eyes watched. Waiting. The darkness of new home pressed in from all sides. Naruto walked slowly, one hand on the wall to guide himself, the other hovering near his kunai. The cold here was different from Snowden, not the clean cold of snow, but something damp and old. Like walking through a tomb. The path opened into a long corridor lined with doors. Each door had a nameplate. Each nameplate held a name Naruto didn't recognize. Faded flowers sat in pots by some doors. Dusty toys lay abandoned by others. He stopped at one door. Peered inside through a small window. A bedroom. Small bed. Old dresser. Cobwebs in the corners. On the nightstand, a photograph, too faded to see clearly, and a single golden flower in a tiny pot. Alive. Still alive after all this time. Naruto's chest hurt. He kept walking. The corridor led to a larger room, a museum of sorts, or maybe a memorial. Glass cases lined the walls, each holding an object. A toy knife. A faded ribbon. A worn notebook. A pair of old ballet shoes. Plaques beneath each item told stories. The knife belonged to a child who was afraid. They carried it everywhere, even though they never used it. The ribbon was a gift from someone who loved them. They wore it until it fell apart. The notebook contains their hopes, their fears, their dreams. They wanted to see the stars. Naruto read each plaque. Each one hurt more than the last. He reached the end of the room. A final case stood alone, larger than the others. Inside, a single object, a locket, old and tarnished, its chain broken. The plaque read. The first human fell here long ago. They made friends. They found family. They died holding the hand of someone who loved them. This locket was theirs. It contains a picture of someone they never forgot. Someone waiting for them on the surface. We never learned that person's name. We never learned the human's name either. But we remember them. We always will. Naruto stood there for a long time. Staring at the locket. Thinking about Sasuke. Thinking about Sakura. Thinking about everyone waiting for him, hoping for him, believing in him. Would they remember him if he never came back? Would they leave flowers on his doorstep? Or would they just move on? He shook his head, forcing the thoughts away. No time for that. No time for doubt. He had to keep moving. Had to find a way home. Had to keep his promise. He turned away from the locket. And found himself face to face with a flower. Not just any flower. A golden flower, glowing faintly in the dim light, its petals spread wide. And on its face, a smile that didn't reach anything. Well, the flower said. Look what the cat dragged in. Naruto's hand flew to his kunai. The flower laughed, a high, cruel sound that echoed off the walls. Relax, relax. I'm not gonna hurt you. Not yet, anyway. Its face twisted into something like curiosity. You're new. Different. I can feel it. That weird energy you've got, it's not determination. But it's close. Close enough to taste. What are you? What am I? The flower's smile widened. I'm your best friend. I'm your worst enemy. I'm the one who's been here since the beginning and will be here at the end. It leaned closer. I'm Flowey. Flowey the flower. And you, strange human, are very interesting. Naruto didn't lower his kunai. I've heard about you, he said. The amalgamates. The true lab. You're. I'm what? Flowey's voice sharpened. The villain? The monster? The reason everything fell apart? He laughed again. You don't know anything. You just got here. You haven't seen what I've seen. Haven't done what I've done. I know you hurt people. I helped people. Flowey's face contorted. I was good. I was kind. I gave and gave and gave until there was nothing left to give. And what did it get me? His petals trembled. Pain. Betrayal. Death. Naruto thought of Sasuke. Thought of all the times he tried to help, tried to save, tried to be good, and watched it slip through his fingers anyway. I know what that's like, he said quietly. Flowey blinked. What? I know what it's like to give everything and still lose. To watch someone you love walk away and not be able to stop them. He lowered his kunai. Just a little. I know what it's like to be so angry you don't know what to do except hurt things. Flowey stared at him. For a moment, just a moment, something flickered in those empty eyes. Something almost like recognition. Then it was gone. Save your pity, Flowey spat. I don't need it. I don't need anything. I have power. Real power. The power to reset. To try again. To make everything perfect. His smile returned, sharper now. And you with your weird energy, you might be the key to making it last. What are you talking about? Flowey's face split into a grin. I'm talking about the truth. The real truth. About determination. About resets. About what happens when someone finally gets it right. He leaned close, voice dropping to a whisper. I've done this before. Lots of times. Made friends. Lost them. Watched them die. Reset and did it again. And again. And again. But every time, something goes wrong. Every time, it falls apart. Naruto's blood ran cold. You're the one Sans remembers. Sans. Flowey's expression flickered, something almost like fondness, twisted into bitterness. Poor Sans. He remembers everything. Every reset. Every failure. Every time I tried and failed and tried again. He's the only one who knows what it's really like. He tilted his head. But you're different. You're not part of the game. You're not bound by the rules. With your help, I could finally. No. Flowey blinked. No? No. Naruto's voice was firm. I'm not helping you hurt anyone. I'm not helping you reset anything. These people, Toriel, Papyrus, Sans, Undyne, they're my friends. I won't let you mess with them. Flowey stared at him. Then he laughed. Laughed and laughed and laughed, a horrible sound that filled the room. Friends, he gasped. You think they're your friends? You think any of this is real? Don't you get it? None of it matters. None of it lasts. I've watched them die 100 times. 1,000. And every time, they come back, happy and hopeful, not remembering anything. Not remembering me. His voice cracked. I tried. I tried so hard. I was good. I was kind. And they forgot. They always forget. Naruto's chest ached. He thought about Sans. About carrying the weight of every reset alone. About watching people you love die over and over while they moved on, happy and ignorant. He thought about Flowey, about whatever he'd been before, whoever he'd lost, whatever had turned him into this twisted thing. And he thought about Sasuke. About how easily it could have been him. How easily he could have let the anger win, let the darkness take over, let himself become something unrecognizable. I don't forget, he said quietly. Flowey stopped laughing. What? I don't forget. I remember everyone. Everything. The people who were kind to me. The people who hurt me. The people I loved and lost. He met Flowey's eyes. And I won't forget you either. Flowey's face did something complicated. That's not, you can't just, he shook his head violently. You don't understand. You can't understand. You haven't been through what I've been through. You haven't. Show me. Flowey froze. What? Show me. The resets. The memories. What you've been through. Naruto stepped closer. I want to understand. Flowey stared at him. For a long moment, neither moved. Then Flowey's expression shifted. The cruelty faded. The bitterness softened. Underneath, for just a moment, Naruto saw something else. Someone else. A kid. Lonely and scared and desperate for connection. You really want to see? Flowey whispered. Yeah. I really do. Flowey nodded slowly. Then the world went white. Naruto fell through memories. Not his own, Flowey's. They rushed past him like water, too fast to catch, too many to count. A garden. Golden flowers. A small goat child laughing, chasing a human child through the blooms. A bed. A sick child. A goat child holding their hand, crying, promising never to leave. A throne room. A human soul, glowing with determination. A goat child holding it, merging with it, becoming something new. A village. Torches. Screaming. Pain. A garden again. A single flower, wilting. A voice whispering, don't be afraid, it's real. I'm here. Then darkness. Then resets. Hundreds of them. Thousands. Flowey trying and failing and trying again. Making friends, losing them, watching them die. Being kind, being cruel, being everything and nothing. And always, always alone. Because everyone forgot. Everyone except Sans. But Sans never reached out. Never tried to help. Just watched with those tired eyes and waited for the next reset. Naruto surfaced from the memories gasping. He was on his knees. Tears streamed down his face. Flowey hovered in front of him, watching with an expression that might have been hope or fear or both. You saw, Flowey whispered. You actually saw. Naruto nodded, unable to speak. That's never happened before. No one's ever, Flowey's voice cracked. No one's ever seen. Naruto found his voice. That's real. Flowey flinched like he'd been struck. That's your name. Your real name. Before, Naruto swallowed. Before everything. I'm not him anymore. I know. Naruto stood slowly, legs shaking. But he's still in there. Somewhere. I saw him. Flowey's face crumpled. He's gone. He's been gone for so long. I'm just what's left. The anger. The loneliness. The part that still remembers. Flowey looked at him. The part that still wants to be loved, Naruto continued. The part that still hopes, even after everything. The part that showed me those memories instead of just attacking. Flowey was silent. Then, quietly, I don't know how to be him anymore. Then learn. It's not that easy. Nothing is. Naruto stepped closer. But you don't have to do it alone. Flowey stared at him. For a long, long moment. Then something shifted. His petals drooped. His expression softened. And for the first time, he looked like what he really was, a scared kid who'd been alone too long. I don't know if I can, he whispered. Neither do I. Naruto smiled. But we can find out together. Flowey Thesreal opened his mouth to respond. Then the ground shook. A roar echoed from somewhere deep in the underground. Not a monster's roar, something worse. Something that made the walls tremble and the air grow heavy. Flowey's eyes widened. No. No, not now. What? What's happening? Flowey looked at him, and for the first time, Naruto saw genuine fear in those eyes. The barrier, Flowey whispered. Something's wrong with the barrier. And if it breaks before you're ready. Before I'm ready for what? But Flowey was already sinking into the ground, petals folding, stem retreating. Find Sans, he said urgently. Find him now. Tell him I'm sorry. For everything. And tell him, his voice caught. Tell him Asriel says thank you. For remembering. Then he was gone. Naruto stood alone in the memorial room, heart pounding, mind reeling. The ground shook again. And somewhere in the distance, he heard Sans' voice, not lazy now, not joking, cutting through the dark. Kid. We've got a problem. Naruto ran. Through corridors and rooms and halls, following Sans' voice, following the tremors, following something he couldn't name. He burst into a large chamber. Sans stood at the center, facing a massive door. His hands were in his pockets, but his shoulders were tense. His usual grin was gone. What took you so long? Flowy as real, he showed me. I know. I felt it. Sans glanced at him. The timeline stuttered when you connected. Like you were finally seeing what's always been there. He turned back to the door. But that's not the problem right now. What is the problem? Sans nodded at the door. The barrier's destabilizing. Something's pushing against it from the other side. Something big. He paused. Something with chakra. Naruto's blood went cold. My world? Maybe. Maybe something that followed you. Maybe something that's been waiting for a chance. Sans finally looked at him, and his eyes were tired. Really tired. The thing about chakra is it doesn't belong here. And when something doesn't belong, it tends to attract other things that don't belong. The door shuddered. A crack appeared in its surface. Naruto stepped forward. Let me help. I can. You can't. Sans' voice was gentle but firm. This isn't your fight. Not yet. Right now, you need to go back. Find Alphys. Get to the true lab. There's something you need to see. What about you? Sans' grin returned, but it was sad. I'll hold the door. It's what I do. He shrugged. Been doing it for a long time. Might as well keep doing it. Sans. Go, kid. I'll be fine. I always am. He paused. Well. Mostly always. Sometimes. Look, just go. Naruto hesitated. Then the door cracked again, wider this time, and something dark began seeping through. Sans' left eye flared blue. Go. Naruto went. He found Alphys in her lab, frantically typing at her computers, monitors flashing with data he couldn't read. You're back, she squeaked. Good. Good. I was so worried, the barrier, the readings, somethings. Alphys. Naruto grabbed her shoulders. Sans said I need to see something. In the true lab. What is it? Alphys froze. The true lab? But that's where, she swallowed. That's where the amalgamates are. The ones I made. By accident. With determination. Take me there. But it's dangerous. They're dangerous. They don't mean to be, but they're wrong. Broken. They. Alphys. Naruto met her eyes. I need to see. Please. She stared at him for a long moment. Then, slowly, she nodded. The true lab was hidden beneath the real one. A secret elevator. A long descent. A door marked with warnings in several languages. Alphys punched in a code. The door slid open. The smell hit first. Not decay, something else. Something sterile and wrong, like too much cleaning solution trying to cover something it couldn't. The room beyond was white. White walls, white floors, white lights. Machines lined every surface, beeping and humming. Tubes ran everywhere, carrying glowing liquid to tanks filled with nothing. Or almost nothing. Naruto stepped closer to one tank. Something moved inside. A shape. Shifting. Changing. Multiple faces pressing against the glass, then retreating. Eyes, too many eyes, blinking in the dim light. Amalgamates, Alphys whispered. Monsters who melted together. Who couldn't hold their forms because of too much determination. They're still in there. Still alive. Still aware. Naruto stared at the tank. One of the faces pressed close to the glass. A child's face. Young. Scared. Its mouth moved, forming words he couldn't hear. What is it saying? Alphys leaned closer. Listened. It's saying, help. Over and over. Help us. Her voice cracked. They've been saying that for years. And I can't. I don't know how. Naruto looked at the tank. At the faces. At the fear. And he remembered what Flowy Asriel had shown him. About being alone. About being forgotten. About being trapped in a form you never asked for. He pressed his hand to the glass. I see you, he said quietly. I don't know if you can hear me, but I see you. And I won't forget. The faces in the tank went still. Then, slowly, they pressed toward his hand. All of them. Pressing against the glass like they were trying to reach him. One face, the child's face, pressed closest. Its mouth moved again. This time, Naruto heard it. Chara, it whispered. Chara is coming. The lights flickered. The machine screamed. And somewhere in the distance, the barrier cracked again. Naruto stumbled back from the tank. What did it say? Alphys grabbed his arm. What did you hear? Chara. The name echoed in his mind. It said Chara is coming. Alphys went pale. No. No, that can't be. Chara is gone. Chara died. Years ago. With Asriel. There. The lights flickered again. And a child's voice, soft and sweet, whispered from everywhere and nowhere at once. Hello, everyone. Did you miss me? The amalgamates in the tank began to scream.